Facebook. Hello YouTube, welcome back to my studios for a Wellbeing Wednesday live. Very topical today because we're going to be talking about the immune system, back to school, making sure that we all stay fit and well in the season ahead. Now, apologies for being a little bit late today. I hope you saw my message, certainly on Instagram. Apologies if you're waiting on Facebook. I was coming up in the car up to London and I had a warning light that said check tyres. So it's like, okay, I thought, oh no, I'm just going to be sat by the side of the road here changing tyres and all of that. Anyway, I just needed to pull into a garage which was right there and check tyre pressures, and all was well, so that was good. Thank you, Jan, worth the wait. Well, I hope so. So today, oh my goodness, what's your week been like? I mean, mine's been crazy. I mean, not only just kind of getting back after the summer and sorting out house moves, more packing boxes. I mean, I swear they breed. I swear it. You know, I empty boxes, I go out, the next day, there's more boxes. It's like, where did they come from? Who is it, are all these things? I mean, anyway. And then getting kids off to school. So my youngest went back to school today. I've got one going back to uni tomorrow, another one going back to uni at the weekend. So it's like finding everything. My youngest announced this morning that he needed rugby boots, and it was like, okay, so you've had 2.5 months to tell me this? Anyway, and breathe. Can I change tyre? Well, I probably could if I really had to, but I was kind of pleased that I didn't have to sort all of that this morning. Anyway, I hope that you are all well and settled in for what's going to be a really interesting chat. Got lots to talk about, lots of different strategies. And I'm going to be joined by a really special guest today, one of my favourite people, Stephanie, who I have spoken to here in the past about her amazing brand. And it's a really interesting substance actually called lactoferrin. And if you want to know more about it, we have written about it over on the Earle Wellbeing website, so you can read a lot more, because I personally think, having done some research into it, that it's an ingredient that we're going to be hearing more and more about when it comes to our immune system. So Stephanie was a journalist, she is a mother of young children, and the usual thing, you know, gets to September, everybody's done pretty well through the summer, lots of vitamin E, hopefully vitamin D rather, from the sun. And of course, what happens, they go to school or college or uni, come back and bring with them lots of bugs. So she was just fed up with the endless round of colds and flus and all of that. And so she looked at lactoferrin, and she developed this really interesting supplement that contains lactoferrin and zinc and vitamin C, two really key nutrients that we know help support our immune system. Ooh, I've just had a low power warning on my Facebook phone, so I'm going to plug it in. Hopefully that will keep it going. Don't forget that I am on both platforms, so should one go down, hopefully the other one will survive. So if you're watching me live on Facebook, if there are any issues, please hop over to the Earle Wellbeing Instagram and vice versa. So who's got their magazine? Isabel, you got your first magazine this morning. Wow, I do hope that you enjoy it so much. So just a quick reminder, I've got it here. Obviously I'm in my studios today, so I've got all my back issues behind me, but this is the cover of the new one with little Basil. Look, little botanical Basil. That's my grand dog. So that is Lily's dog, and she's amazing actually. She's almost like a medical alert dog, because as you probably know, Lily has an autoimmune issue, and when she gets a migraine, Basil kind of knows it before anybody else, and she'll go and she'll lie down next to the box where Lil keeps all her meds. So really interesting, isn't it? Anyway, sixth sense and all that, dogs, amazing. So Basil, yet again, made it onto the cover of the magazine, and it's a really lovely one, jam-packed with seasonal ideas. Yeah, Di, I hope your magazine arrives soon too. They are all going out at the moment, so if you are a subscriber, don't forget it's not in the shops anymore. You do have to subscribe. But if you're a subscriber, I promise you, then you will be getting yours very soon, post permitting. So now let me see whether I can get Stephanie to join us live. Hopefully this will work. Hi from Scotland, Leapfrog Remedies. There we go. Hopefully this will work. Hey, you got yours a few minutes ago. Wellbeing Angel. Justine, yours arrived yesterday. Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you? You look so unflustered, given what you've had to go through with your tyre. You look completely relaxed and serene, and having moved house.
Well, yeah, that was probably a bit more of a challenge. Thank you. I do feel that I'm slightly kind of, what's the word, glowing, I think is the polite expression.
We're glowing today. It's so hot.
I know. Oh my goodness. I mean, I was really lucky. I took Monday off and took my kids out onto the water down on the Solent. We had somebody I know charters a boat, so we booked that for the day. And honestly, it was like being in the Caribbean. It was just amazing. So lucky. Bright blue skies. And in fact, if anybody follows Earle on Instagram, I just saw earlier that she has made a little reel of our day, which she set to music. It's really fun. It really kind of choked me actually to watch it. So I hope that everybody takes a little look at that.
We've waited long enough for days like this summer. So.
We have, and of course, day they go back to school. This is the week, isn't it? You know, let's have some sunshine. Never mind. It's good for the immune system, of course, all that vitamin D, which is the theme of today for our Wellbeing Wednesday. So for those who didn't meet you before, last time we did a live here, do you want to give us a little rundown on your background and how you came to be this amazing, you know, British female brand founder with Leapfrog? Because it's an extraordinary brand and it's very different from anything else that I've come across.
Thank you. Well, you did such a good introduction a moment ago. It was absolutely spot on. I'm a journalist, and so I guess I have an innate curiosity of all things new and different. And just as you said, I have two small boys who were at nursery at the time, bringing home with coughs and colds. It was a merry-go-round of hell. My husband and I were catching everything. And I just, I just started doing some investigating. What can I do to cut these colds off at the pass? If it's not echinacea and elderberry and these other things. And I spoke to nutritionists, and then I spoke to a scientist. And I'll never forget the words. He said, if you really want to stop a cold...
Excuse me.
Oh, is that the phone?
We are live. No, it's my doorbell, obviously. They could have waited, but no, I'll be with you. One moment. You carry on talking.
Okay, I'll carry on talking. So the scientist said to me, if you really want to stop a cold in its tracks, you want to have lactoferrin. He said, I haven't had a cold in 30 years, so obviously that was very appealing to me. So I tried the raw material, and it worked. And it worked, and it worked, and it worked. My husband and I both tried it, and I was just saying that, we got a hold of the raw material, and we tried it, and it worked, and it worked, and it worked. It seemed to knock a cold on the head. That first sign of a sniffle or a scratchy throat or a raspy throat, we'd take the lactoferrin, and it would disappear. 9 times out of 10.
So what is lactoferrin? Where does it come from, and how does it fit into the jigsaw that is our immune system?
So I just love the story behind it. Again, journalist, I love the story of lactoferrin. Our bodies make it every day. It's in our eyes, it's in our nose, it's in our mouth. It's part of our innate immune system. It stands guard there to basically attack any germs that try to get in, bacteria, viruses. So, we make it, we synthesize it every day. So it's totally natural. The other thing that I love about it is that it's one of the key components of breast milk. So there's a lot of it in colostrum.
I was just about to say that. That's I think probably where I first heard about it is in breast milk, especially those early days, the colostrum, which is so packed with all those immune-enhancing ingredients that new babies need.
Exactly. I mean, a newborn coming into this filthy world, Mother Nature provides this incredible sticky substance which has lots of lactoferrin in it. That's the sort of first fire of the list. And then it's also part of mother's milk. When it turns to milk, there's 7 times more of it in colostrum, so it gets that first real kickstart for the immune system. But then it still continues throughout the breast milk. And I remembered when I breastfed my babies, and I was lucky enough to feed them for quite a few months. I mean, anything ricocheted straight off them. They seem to be totally protected. And of course, as soon as you stop breastfeeding, they catch everything going, which in a way is good, but because they're building up their immune library, I suppose. But it was, I knew that mother's milk had this extraordinary sort of magic about it. So when I realized that it was this key component of it, well, it made perfect sense to me. And it's actually only become technologically possible to take this one protein out of this incredible cocktail, mother's milk, and put it into a supplement, into a powder, in the last 35 years. So it is quite new, but we can now get these incredible benefits as adults, which is amazing. So I've now put it, obviously, into a chewable tablet with the zinc and the vitamin C. And I really just did it to help women, mothers at the school gate like me, wringing their hands, going, not another cold. And and back to school, as you said, this is it. Everybody's going back into the petri dish that is a classroom.
But back into the petri dish, but also, back into society, hopefully, as we open up and, don't have to wear masks and all of that. We're all, I think, so much more aware, highly aware of the importance of our immune system and how we can better protect ourselves to give ourselves a stronger immune system, which for all things, COVID notwithstanding, at this time of year, this is the time, isn't it, when we're just going to be surrounded by flu bugs and coughs and colds and seasonality. And for me, I would always give my kids elderberry syrup, sambucol. I'd make sure they had high levels of vitamin C and zinc as well, which is a real key part of our immune system. And you've reminded me, actually, that I need to send some to my teens who are going off to uni.
I saw that Kit was going to university. I was like, I hope you're packing some Leapfrog in his bag.
Absolutely. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm a bit concerned about him because obviously the first week is Freshers Week and all they seem to do is go out and get kind of, low price beer in bars and things. So he's got his glutathione, which he definitely needs, and his zinc and his vitamin C. And yeah, absolutely, I'm going to be getting some more of this for him. Now, tell me about the name Leapfrog, because that's quite specific, isn't it, as to how you can take this?
Sure. I just wanted to say, actually, just the point about, yes, we produce our own lactoferrin, but when you're run down, not eating properly, not sleeping well, because, I don't know, maybe you're going through Freshers Week, then your lactoferrin stores can become used up faster than they are restored. So that's when it's a good time to supplement. So I was just thinking of what you were saying of Kit's week ahead. So yes, Leapfrog. So when to take it? So I came up with the name Leapfrog because the scientific abbreviation for lactoferrin is L small f, and it just came to me one day. So that's why it's called Leapfrog.
Right.
And then I don't know, 2 weeks after I came up with the name, I remember my husband saying, "Do you know what?" Calling up to me on the mezzanine where we live and saying, "I think I've leapfrogged over that cold again, with the lactoferrin." And I said, "That's so funny because that's
spooky." That is spooky. And you can also cycle it, can't you? So you can do sort of 1 month on, 1 month off. So you can kind of leapfrog your dose if you like.
Exactly. So there are 2 ways that we say that you can take Leapfrog. One is SOS method. So as I said, when you get that first inkling of a cold, take a Leapfrog twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, until the symptoms have gone.
Okay.
And the other way of taking Leapfrog is by pulse method. So 1 tablet per day, month on, month off, over a season, say. So for now, it could be every day for the month of September, but not for the month of October, then for November, and not for December. And the reason we said that was, we really agonized over this, myself and my lactoferrin expert, he's a doctor at the University of Texas, was because, the body does produce its own lactoferrin, and we should allow it to do so in those off months.
Right.
But, we don't all live perfect lives and give the body what it needs, the right foods, exercise, stress management systems, etc. So it is good to have, a helping hand, especially when one's over 50 and one's immune resilience is slightly weaker anyway. Then we think that it's a good idea to supplement with this natural lactoferrin, 1 tablet per day, cycling, as you say. We've called that the pulse method.
The pulse method. Now, are there any reasons why we shouldn't be taking it? I can see some questions coming in on my Instagram. For example, women who are breastfeeding, people with kind of medical contraindications. Is there anybody who shouldn't be taking it, perhaps?
I do get asked quite a few questions about, nothing. The jury's out on hemochromatosis, which is, and I'm still trying to get to the nub of this. I'm not getting a consensus. Hemochromatosis is an overload of iron.
Right.
And one of lactoferrin's many clever things, it's antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, it's an antioxidant. One of its clever things that it does, one of its mechanisms of action, is to bind iron to itself. Iron that bacteria needs in order to survive. So it basically starves the bacteria. That's why it works so well.
Clever.
But if it's binding that iron, then it's keeping that iron. And if you have hemochromatosis, you have too much iron. Does that mean it's stored in the body and there's too much there and it's binding too much to itself? I'm not sure there is. So when it comes to hemochromatosis, the jury is still out.
Okay.
With other conditions, there's a tiny bit of a sweetener in there. So we say with diabetes, in my particular tablet, that may be worth looking at. But lactoferrin, No, I mean, it seems to be pretty much, yeah, I would always say, do check with your doctor if you've got anything very specific.
Course,
Your doctor will probably not have heard of it,
right.
but it's very possible to look up the wealth of knowledge that there is on
this was what amazed
online.
me actually, and really impressed me in the early days, because when I first started to hear about it and we first connected, I thought, I really need to do a lot of research on this, because I don't like doing anything, particularly if it goes onto the Liz Loves program, which this is, which we can talk about the discount, which is great. I don't like to be putting anything out there that's not thoroughly researched, and I'll try it myself often, well, always first, but often for a considerable length of time. And the number of studies on PubMed, which I'm sure many of us know, is kind of the go-to website for all the medical research, all the clinical trials, Cochrane review, the gold standard evidence. It's extraordinary, the amount of data on lactoferrin, and looking not only at the immune system but also things like osteoporosis and joints and brain health, and you name it, lactoferrin seems to have a role in helping.
Exactly, and I guess it's not surprising when you think of the fact that it is the first violinist of mother's milk. It is therefore the baby's immune system, but also its cognition and its bone health, and to populate its gut and help balance its gut. It is called the Swiss Army knife of the human host defense system.
I love that. I've not heard that, the Swiss Army knife, because it's just got so many parts to it.
It really, really does.
And it helps you out in a crisis.
Exactly. And it's natural. And what I also love about it is that it works with your body, in sync with your body's own mechanism. So when you're supplementing with lactoferrin, and ours comes from cow's milk, which is very similar actually in its biological activity to human milk, your body actually recognizes it. So you're supplementing your body with something that is actually already in your body. And so it has this beautifully sort of nuanced approach, and it works so effectively. So
So here I'm just actually going to open mine up just to show everybody what it. So it comes in like a blister pack. So you get 2 of these in here plus your little leaflet. And also what I like about it, oops, one's gone on the floor, I'll have that later, is it's a chewable. So particularly with kids, and it tastes quite nice. So even my youngest, who's not good with capsules, elderly parents as well, not good necessarily with swallowing lots of things. It's actually quite tasty. Really tasty actually.
It's a citrus flavour, and apart from the fact that of course it's really convenient, you don't have to swallow big pills or carry water around, you can just chew it and go. It's just one thing that you can do in the morning, and then it's done, and you don't have to think about it again. Other than the sheer convenience of it and the portability of it, shove it into your handbag, get on the tube, or go to whatever meeting you have. If I'm going somewhere where there are going to be a few people, I make sure I take a Leapfrog. Other than that, we actually believe that chewing, that actually its mucosal delivery mechanism is the most effective. So it basically starts a relationship with the epithelial cells. It gets absorbed by the cells in the mouth, and chain reaction begins. And it basically, the action starts in the mouth. I don't want to get too technical. The action starts in the mouth, and you bypass the gastric juices, etc. So that's why we came up with that chewable format.
And this is a month's supply. This is 30 tablets in here. How much is this for a month?
$64.99.
And we do have an offer, so we have the 10% off if you use your Liz Loves code. So this is something that you could take every day, cycle it, or you could just have it as your standby emergency.
Yes.
Now
so we have a pack of 15. So if you want to try it, if $64.99 seems like too much of a commitment, if you've never
that's a good idea. Try it. Try 15.
We've got a pack of 15, which is $34.99, and then you can see how you feel. And I think once you take it and you see the cold play out completely differently to how you've ever experienced it before.
So I'm going to tell you that this is an actual true story. So we had some here in the studios, and I wanted to try it with my team, not just for myself, to get a really kind of broad consensus. And one of my younger members, who is a bit vulnerable, and she she's asthmatic, and she has a lot of kind of cold and flu and lung related issues. She felt a cold coming on, and she was working from home, and she'd had her lactoferrin sent to her, and I reminded her, and she said, oh yes, I'm going to go and take that. So she took that, and literally nothing developed. So she was able to carry on. She felt really well. The cold just kind of never materialized. And you know, normally it really would. She would really be laid low. She might have to have time off work, you know, all of that. So I was really impressed by that, because for me, I like to think, you know, touch wood here, that I'm, you know, relatively healthy and have a strong immune system and keep myself kind of topped up on everything. But when you've got somebody who really can go down very quickly, and you see the instant, I mean, instant, it was literally, but you know, later on that day, I messaged her to say, hey, you know, how are you doing? Just checking in. And she said, well, I feel completely fine. You know, I really feel that my body has gone, poof, you know, butted it away. Whatever was trying to invade my system has just gone.
It's amazing how quickly it works. And this is why, you know, I'm a journalist. I am not a big pharmaceutical company. I was absolutely compelled to bring this to public consciousness, because it really can help. It really makes a difference. And actually, since we last spoke, Liz, I just, you know, I wanted to mention, and I'm very reticent to ever make a sort of a connection with COVID, but there are so many studies now and trials that have taken place over the last 18 months. I actually can't not mention it.
How
so
very
if I can just mention
interesting.
What, you know, there are two that particularly have caught my attention recently, and you mentioned PubMed, that site. I read it voraciously. One was that lactoferrin is effective against a number of coronaviruses, including SARS-CoV-2. And the other one was the University of Michigan, which is one of the top universities in the States. They screened 1,425 FDA-approved compounds and drugs, basically medical drugs, to see if any of them had any antiviral efficacy against SARS-CoV-2. They got them down to 17. One of those contenders was something called remdesivir, which has been approved by the FDA for COVID. It was a drug for Ebola, which they've now repurposed for COVID. But one thing came on top. This study is the first to include proteins in a study as well as drugs. And the one protein that came on top, of course, I'm building up to the punchline, is lactoferrin.
Really?
And I was literally punching the air when I read this. It only came out last month, so August the 19th. And I was punching the air because I thought to myself, look, I mean, with all of those synthetic drugs that are out there that are obviously brilliant for what they're needed, and I just, you know, I have to hand it to Mother Nature. She came out on top. How
that is, and do you know, and I've not read that or heard that anywhere in the literature. I mean, we hear about vitamin D and high levels of vitamin D helping to, you know, keep people potentially out of intensive care. They've seen that those with high levels of vitamin D are less likely to have the more severe symptoms. But that is just extraordinary, isn't it? That this sort of natural, safe supplement. And what I like about you is you do your research. And I think, you know, when you're taking supplements, you've got to be really careful. There's a lot of stuff out there, and you don't know what's in it. You know, you don't know what is necessarily in the capsule or the powder that you get. And, you know, you as a mum, you're giving this to your small children, yeah?
Well, it's for, I would say that this Leapfrog Immune, I've got mine here, is for 12 and up. So it does say on the back 12 and up.
Right.
It's, you know, I have given it to my children, but it's your choice. It is for 12 and up, and we are working on a kids version.
Yeah.
So
I guess you could give them half a tablet, but I mean, I'm not going to push you there, because I know there are very strict guidelines, particularly
given to infants.
I mean, if it's in colostrum, come on, that is the first thing that a newborn has. The first thing, and if there's 7 times more in colostrum than there is in normal breast milk, which then a baby would go on and have. That is just extraordinary. So for me, you know, I've had this in my cupboard, to be really honest with you. I haven't been taking it for the majority of this year. You know, I think hopefully, you know, most of us have been hopefully pretty fit and well and enjoying fresh air and sunshine and all of those things. But I'm now keenly aware, as the cycle of these things go on, that there will be a lot more bugs and germs coming back into my household, brought by my lovely gregarious children who are, you know, out there and mixing and all the rest of it. And so for me, this actually sits, I don't keep this in my supplement cupboard, and I do have a small supplement cupboard, which I can just about shut the door on, but it is quite full.
I was going to say house full.
But I keep it in my medicine cupboard. So, you know, it's there to remind me, along with, you know, the cough syrups and all the other things, that if somebody is going down then this actually needs to be part of the armoury. That it's the kind of thing that you want to make sure that you have. I think your idea of having the kind of 15 tablet trial pack is a good idea, because if you feel yourself going down, you've got somebody in your family going down with something, just give them one and see what happens.
Well, do you know, Liz, since I was on your last Insta Live and you kindly interviewed me, many of your followers have bought Leapfrog, and I'm, I know all of my customers, and I've phoned many of them over the last few months to find out how they're getting on. Yeah, people have bought a few times. Those of you that are watching might have been called by me, actually. And I just phoned to find out, what the experiences have been. And what I hear time and time again is, I just feel reassured having Leapfrog in the cabinet. Yeah. I just know that there's something in the house there's a go-to in the house if we ever feel that first sign of a cough or a cold. Yeah. And others take it more regularly on the pulse method. It's been really, really wonderful to hear these testimonials. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah. If it is not working, it worked for me, but if it wasn't working for everybody else, then what's the point? So I was really keen to find out how it was working, and it is. And so, yeah.
I think it is just fascinating, and thank you for reminding us, especially in this week as we begin to perhaps go back to schools and work and unis and all the rest of it, because there's no question, we are going to get affected. There are going to be coughs and cold bugs around, and if you've got something that is genuine you're going to be helpful.
Yeah. I think and there are other things we can do, just to say, open your windows even when it's cold, get the fresh air coming through, the outdoor microbiome mingling with the inner microbiome. Cold showers are really good for boosting them, the immune system, getting the white blood cells. There are so many things that you can do that we've all learned over the last 18 months to make part of our routine.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I didn't have a cold shower on Monday, but I did have a very cold dunk in the sea. Which was unexpected. Yeah. So I was out on this boat, and I did have, to be fair, I did have my swimsuit on, but I'd done my hair that morning because I knew I was meeting my great friend Kim, and we were going to take some lovely pictures. So I thought, I'll just get myself looking nice for the day. Yeah. So I did my hair, and I piled it up on top of my head, and I had my sunglasses on. I thought, I'll go in there and I'll just do sort of swimming like this, keeping my hair. Anyway, literally, my youngest just shoved me off the back of this boat. And as it's like how you see things in slow motion as you're going down. I thought, I am going to go under this water, and I'm going to lose my favourite pair of sunnies. And anyway, my sunglasses stayed on, thankfully. But of course, I was just completely drenched. Right. But anyway, the water. What reminded me is that the water was cold.
Yes.
I mean, really cold. But it reminded me the bracingness of it. And Lily, my eldest, who has an autoimmune issue, as you know, who also is a big fan, I have to say, of Leapfrog.
Oh, good.
She goes cold water swimming, and it's one of the few times when she doesn't have pain, because the cold water is just sort of, I don't know, switching off the pain receptors, or perhaps giving you a different sensation. And she goes, even throughout the winter she'll go, but obviously it's so cold she can't stay in for very long, only a few minutes. But even just having a cold shower, as you say, getting into the shower and being brave enough to turn the tap down, which is my method.
It's true. I mean, it really does. And the cold shower is the same thing. It shocks the body, and the body sort of is forced to react to these really quick changing conditions and produce more white blood cells. So that's what it does. And
so it's a real thing. I mean, there is a real physiological reason why being in cold water helps our immune system.
It's a real thing. And what's funny also is that it can wake you up in the morning and get you going, but also if you have a cold shower before you go to bed, it can also relax you.
Really? Do you know, I've never tried that. Do you jump into a cold shower cold, or do you do what I do, turn it down very gradually? So you start off nice and warm and you kind of get yourself in the mood, and then it's gradually by degrees turning it down.
That's what I do. I have a hot shower first, and then I brace myself for the last 2 minutes. And it should really be, 2 to 3 minutes if you're really going to get the effect. Not a quick splash, so you've really got to go with it. But honestly, it feels amazing. And now I'm sort of somewhat addicted to it. I can't start my day without it.
Really? You know, that's such a good reminder. I need to get back into that. I remember doing some research on cold water for the immune system, and reading that particularly if you're in the shower, putting the shower head on the back of the neck here.
Exactly.
I don't know why, but is there some sort of, I don't know, focus
Do you know
point
what?
or
I have
nerve
read that.
center point.
I can't remember the reason why, but
Yeah.
I know that to be true too. So I make sure that I spritz it there because I use a hand shower to do the cold water bit.
Yeah. Same.
Getting it on the back of the neck is apparently key.
Well, I am totally going to try it. I wonder whether trying it before bed, maybe. Do you think it helps with sleep?
I think so. I'm a good sleeper anyway, but I think so. It's supposed to. It is supposed to help with good sleep. But yeah, I'm as I said, I'm a good sleeper anyway. Luckily, for the moment.
Yes.
So.
Well, watch out for that, because for me that was my first symptom really of perimenopause, was when my sleep went.
Liz, I'm going to voraciously listen to every single thing you have ever said. Trust me, you are my number one resource when this hits.
Well, no, it's been amazing to be able to help so many women. I'm just reading here on my Instagram comments. Apparently, it hits the venous nerve on the neck.
That's it, the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, okay.
I'd forgotten, but it's the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, Mrs. Salsa is saying that. The start of the vagus nerve, which also, of course, is the transmitter of all the gut microbes and the relay of information between the gut and the brain is the vagus nerve. So potentially stimulating that with the cold water could also have a beneficial impact on our microbiome.
Interesting. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, me too. We've got some homework. Oh, Stephanie, it's lovely to chat. Thank you so much for being with us, and I'm so sorry that my tire incident delayed us, and I'm glad it wasn't anything more serious. And thank you for the reminder, and thank you very much for the discount. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Lovely to speak to you, Liz. Take care.
And you too. Bye-bye. I'm going to let you click off, because if I click off, then I tend to click everybody off. Very interesting. Isabel, you can't sleep, you've hit 60. Are you topping up your estrogen? If not, download my e-guide, The Truth About HRT, because that is something really good. Because sleep, I can do a lot of things, but if I don't get good sleep, then the wheels fall off my wagon. Anyway, just to remind you there, so that was Stephanie Drax from Leapfrog, and lactoferrin 10% off with your Liz Loves, which is the affiliate discount code for that. Now, other things, because I was thinking today, it's all about immunity. Lactoferrin obviously is one possibility that we might like to look into. Let's have a look perhaps at some of the other nutrients and the herbs. And this is another, if I just reach across here, another great British brand, which I haven't talked about for a while, but I got to know during lockdown last year, and that's Life Armour. And these guys, lovely again, female founder, British brand, make these little bottles of wonderness. And the two that I have in particular, and I saw them literally as I walked to my studios, I've got them sat right there, are the drops of balance, which just help me be calm, really, really calm. And as many of you know, the last year has been a little bit stressful here and there, and I was on my balance drops 3 or 4 times a day. Really, really good. I'm feeling a little bit more in control now, but you never know. I like to have them there ready. And then the other one that I use from Life Armour are the sleep drops, which I have on my bedside table. I take them religiously. My kids have them as well at night. Brella, she's gone back to uni with her sleep drops. It's kind of my little ritual. A couple of drops of lavender essential oil on my pillow, earplugs in because I'm quite sensitive to sound and I don't want to be woken up. At the moment it's flipping bird song at 5:15 in the morning, but I take, so that blocks out the noise, and then I have my slumber drops. But this is their new one, which I've been trying. You can see I've kind of halfway down the bottle, and it is drops of immunity. Okay, so that's what I take. I take a pipette full, and this one again very good for this time of year. So this has got vitamin C in it, obviously, but it's also got adaptogenic herbs. So adaptogenic herbs, we've talked about these before. They are a very interesting group of herbs because, as their name suggests, they adapt to what the body needs. So a prime example of an adaptogenic herb would be something like ginseng, which you can take for stress when you're feeling really overloaded and just need to have a bit of time out and de-stress. So they will help to calm, but ginseng can also help to uplift and support when you're feeling anxious or tired or fatigued. So it's that adaptogenic nature of the herb that gives them the title adaptogens. So this has adaptogens in it. So it has astragalus, which is an adaptogenic herb, holy basil, which we've written about a lot at Earle Wellbeing, and you've also got elderberry, so that a lovely immune supporting herb that we talked about before, and vitamin C and acerola, which is the form of cherry. So these are, I'm not even sure if they're new, they're newish I think. So they're called drops of immunity. And in the old days I used to take sambucol, which was sort of the elderberry, and I used to give it to my kids as well, but now I think it's worth stepping up and upgrading so that I've got something that has the elderberry and also has the other adaptogenic herbs in. We do still have the offer with Life Armour, that's 15% off all their drops. They also do lovely teas, don't know if you've seen those. Really, really nice. The slumber tea is excellent to have that at night instead of a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with caffeine. I have the slumber tea, it's absolutely delicious. So that is 15% off with Liz Loves, you know the drill, and that is Life Armour. And if you want to know more about the immune system, don't forget that we did actually last year, I think it was possibly this time last year, we published an e-guide, and it's an e-guide to the immune system, and it's full of really helpful ways to stay fit and strong. So we talk about adaptogenic herbs, what they are, we talk about all the different nutrients and how they work in the body to support the immune cells. The white blood cells, obviously really important part of the immune system for fighting off bacteria and all the kind of invaders that can get into the body. So things like vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, lots of other strategies, including sleep, including exercise, including immune boosting foods, all of that. And I think, have we got Lainey on Facebook today? Lainey, are you there? I think you might be. So Lainey, on Facebook, we can obviously put links up to things. So thank you very much, Lainey, for managing that and putting links up, which makes it very clickable. Obviously we can't do that as easily on Instagram, but you will find everything on the Earle Wellbeing website. And we've now got so many of these things with brands who've really kindly given us discounts. There's a whole section called Liz Loves, so if you want to check on anything, just please do head there. We also have this thing called Linktree, and that's in the little biography about Earle Wellbeing on Instagram. If you click on that, it will come up with links to the most relevant things that I've been talking about today or this week. So we try and keep that as current as we can. Another great female founder who I haven't connected with for a long time, but she's one of my favourite people, is Rosie. And she has a great company, the Healthy Juice Company. And this has just arrived from Rosie. So this is the Healthy Juice Company. And this is like the Rolls Royce of juicing. Okay, she's extraordinary, Rosie. She makes everything herself in her kitchens, in her proper, industrial standard kitchens, and she only uses organic ingredients, and she cold presses everything. I mean, even her nut milks she'll do with fresh organic Brazil nuts, and just amazing. So it reminded me, because I think it was, oh gosh, was it 18 months ago maybe, we started with some well-being shots. So we did some juices together a while ago, and they were really, really popular. And then I wanted to do something that was just a little bit more focused on the immune system. So I'm just going to show you what's in my box here. It's all in recyclable packaging. It comes in insulation, wool insulation. We've got VSL3 sachets. This is the 450 billion probiotics that come with that. This is the 3-day supply, so you've got 3 sachets. You also have 3 sachets of Ultrient C. This is the liposomal vitamin C. I take this, I absolutely love it. Lots to say about liposomal delivery systems of vitamins. So liposomes are the little tiny microscopic bubbles, almost like beads if you looked at them under a microscope, and you can pack them full of vitamins or nutrients or whatever you want, really. And when you take them, it bypasses the digestive system, so they go straight into your cells. So it's a really efficient way of getting good things into your immune system. So in here, so these are the little shot bottles. So again, all eco-packed in cardboard. This is one of my favourites. I'm going to save this one for later. This is cinnamon almond chia. So this is a freshly made nut milk with cinnamon. Cinnamon's also a really good spice to use, very good for helping to support the immune system. During the Spanish flu outbreak, was that in the 1918, was it around then? They found that the workers in the cinnamon factories, where they were bringing in the cinnamon quills, particularly from India, and grinding them up to make spices, they seemed to be protected from the flu bugs. And a lot of research has happened since then to show that cinnamon has got interesting antiviral properties. So that's in the cinnamon almond chia. This one, Mandy, you love Rosie's juices. Oh my goodness, yeah. Hi Rosie, I can see you're online. Thank you for joining. That's golden shot. Look at the colour of that. Do you know, I'm going to have a little bit of that now. This is turmeric and pineapple, a little bit of black pepper to activate the curcumin. I mean, just, it is, I mean, I think these are medicinal, really. Oh, wow. The ginger. Oh, gosh, the ginger and the lemon. Oof. Just great. And then the other one is the green one. So this is called Go-Go Green. Look at that for a colour. Really, really good. You're going to do a 3-day juice detox, Mandy, for Sober October. That's a great idea. Could I give up my glass of wine for the whole of October? I'm not sure. But that is such a good one. What have we got in here, Rosie? I think it's cucumber and greens, fennel. You give me a little list, actually. I need to find my my booklet. So these little bottles are your single day. So you get 1 probiotic sachet, 1 Ultrient C sachet, 3 little bottles that you can have during your day. So if you are convalescing, if you are recovering, or you want to send somebody a care package, then this is a really good thing to do. We do have healthy juice shots. Yeah, we do have 10% off as well with Liz Love. So thank you very much, Rosie, for that. In the bottom of my bag here, this is the 3-day supply. Okay, so these are the larger bottles that would last you for 3 days. That's the golden shot. This one down here is, oh gosh, I love it. I have to stop my kids from drinking this because it is so delicious. Who's tried this? The cinnamon almond chia. It's so good. So good. And so good for us as well. So nice to have something that's so delicious and so healthy too. And then this is your Go-Go Green. And then last but not least, what I love about Rosie is that she's all about reuse and recycle and replenish. And so what she does is, because she makes all her nut milk, so for example with this one, which is made with the almond milk, so she's got her organic almonds and she's grinding them and she's making the cold pressed nut milks. I mean, incredibly nutritious. Just got to sip it slowly, don't glug it, you know, sip it, almost chew it, savour it in your mouth. And then what she does is she makes these little bath soaks with the husks that are left from the almonds, so nothing is wasted. So she makes them in these little organic cotton muslin bags tied with a little bit of string. So these are the almond husks that you can use in the bath, and it just turns your, it's like being Cleopatra, okay? You just pop it in your bath, and she's used organic essential oil of lavender, which is so calming. I needed to have got this out actually and had a sniff of this when I was in the garage not that long ago, thinking, are my tyres going to hold out? Because it really, there's something so calming and restorative about lavender. Who else loves lavender? Natalie, you love these little bath bags. Your children, Nikki, steal the muslin bath bags. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. They are so good, and it's just such a lovely treat. And if you are feeling just a bit rotten and you just need a bit of a pick-me-up, a lovely warm bath before bed, followed by a cold shower. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do that on alternate nights. Anyway, thank you very much, Rosie, for sending me that, for replenishing me. And I have to say, in this particular week, I am super grateful to have all my supplies to hand, because, you know, life is stressful, isn't it? No matter what stage you're at and where you are. I always find that September, it's a tricky time. It's almost like the start of a new year, isn't it? You know, I mean, it is for a lot of people the start of a new year, because it's the start of a new academic year. So if you have children or grandchildren back to school, if you are a teacher or somebody who's involved, you know, working in education, then it is the start of a new year. You know, my kids have all moved up a year, so it's like kind of stepping into a new year. And when you talk to naturopaths and nutritionists, very often they'll say that it's the start of a new season. That's kind of nature's way of saying, okay, right, it's now time to take stock. It's time to reevaluate. Let's take a look at what we're eating. Things change. We tend to eat more root vegetables, more nourishing, more warming foods. If you're a follower of Chinese traditional medicine or macrobiotics, you'll be aware of the yin and the yang. and the yang being the kind of nourishing, downward growing foods that we tend to have with the root vegetables. You've got things like parsnips and carrots and sweet potatoes and all of those things that are very sustaining, and they're soft when we cook them or bake them or roast them. They soften and are warming and nourishing, and that's kind of what the body needs right now. We need to be pushing nourishing, warming foods rather than the more yin foods, which are the upward growing things that are raw, so things like salad vegetables, lettuces and all of that kind of thing that grow above the ground. So, interesting to think, isn't it, all the different cultures and how they factor in seasonality and the different words for it, whether you call it yin and yang, or whether you want to look at seasonal eating or just refreshing and thinking, even in the hedgerows, nature's providing stuff. Nature's providing elderberries and blackberries and, all those anthocyanin-rich fruits and produce and nuts and seeds that are so incredibly nutritious, which we're gathering shortly. They'll be coming into natural harvest, and then you've got all the animals who'll go and gather them up and store them up for the winter to sustain them for the months to come. So my goal is to try and stay as fit and as well as possible, notwithstanding current conditions on every level, and just fortify the body. Having had a bit of a break, I have to say, I haven't been super good with my exercise, and I've been, socialising and away on holiday and, in Italy, enjoying my pasta and my pizza and all of that. But now is the time, I think, to kind of do a little bit of a recalibration and think, what do I need? What are the things that I need to have around me to make sure that we stay fit and well? So whether that's even simple things, drinking more water, having broths, making sure that we prioritise sleep, cutting down our caffeine, making sure that doesn't interfere with our sleep, maybe switching on the cold tap of the shower. What I love about all these things is it needn't be expensive. Yes, of course, there are lots of lovely supplements that we can buy and enjoy as well, but there are lots of things that are gratis. Ventilation, opening windows, going out for walks, looking at nature, particularly if you're in the UK on a beautiful day like today. Although I think somebody said they were down in Devon and it wasn't great weather. I have to say, I'm up in London now and I'm looking up through my studio's windows. It's a bright, bright blue sky. I'm going to go and get some fresh air. I'm out a bit later on, and I think I'm just going to walk to my destination rather than hop on a bus or a cab, because it's just good to be alive, isn't it, on a day like this? Anyway, that is about it for today. Thank you for joining me. It's lovely to be back live with you. It's always so good to connect. It really is. And thank you for letting me have my day off on Monday. I will pop some more stories, some more pictures on my stories to share a little bit of what we got up to behind the scenes. So Friday is the next kind of date for the diary, if you like. Friday is the day here at Earle Wellbeing when we send out our newsletter. So do make sure that you're on the list if you haven't yet subscribed. It's completely free. Comes out tea time. Amy, my digital editor, puts that together, and we're just working on that at the moment. It's going to be a really lovely one. Also, my Friday 5 podcast, which is going to be with Zana Morris, and she's going to be giving us some really interesting inside information if you've fallen off the wagon a bit over the summer with your fitness and want to get back on track physically, with really simple things that we can do that make a big difference to how we feel, and protecting muscle mass and bone density and all those things, again, that are so important to us. And then I will be back with you live on Monday, so over here at Earle Wellbeing on Instagram, obviously Earle Wellbeing on Facebook and YouTube. And because it's Monday, we're going to go back with one of our favourite people, somebody I know you love, Rupert from Delilah. Yes, the wonderful Rupert. And he is going to be with us talking about some autumn makeup and some new season makeover looks. So it's a lovely Makeup Monday planned for next week. So I hope that you'll pop that in your diaries and either join me live here or later on catch up. I'm glad it's sunny in Edinburgh. Excellent. Do you think we're going to get the storm later? Oh dear. Rupert, I know. Yeah. So great. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for being with me. Have a great rest of the week. It's hump day. Don't forget, hump day, Wednesday. Downhill all the way now for the weekend. So stay well, stay happy, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Sending lots of love.